Hello and welcome everybody to another Premodern video. Today we're going to be looking at a very interesting innovation that I've been thinking about for quite a bit. It's a little bit of a pivot in a different take on a deck that has actually been a sleeper for quite a bit in the current state of the format. This deck is very strong and I think that there's still some ground to cover. So let's go to explore and let's see what we have cooking up for today. This is the deck in question right here. This is Terrageddon, but there's a very strong and very good version of the deck that's been going around that is banned, and it splashes blue for Meddling Mage, one of the best creatures, if not the actual best creature in the format. Now, I am a sucker for a good mana base, and that version of the deck plays 4 copies of Gemstone Mine, which kind of requires in order to have access to all of those tough to get otherwise colors. So I've been thinking for a while about going straight up green-white, same shell really, with like Weather Wayfarer, Swords to Plowshares, Terror, Call of the Herd. This is like a bit the big innovation. Decks in the past have played Werebear, decks like this I mean, and I think that card sucks. So Call of the Herd on the other hand is absolutely fantastic. So using the similar shell and then taking some lessons that we learned from the green-red Oath deck, which, you know, just playing 4 copies of Sylvan Library, this card is incredible. So using those learned lessons and combining that with a card in the white colors that does not really seem that much play, because, you know, we would really kill for Thalia to exist in the Premodern format, but this is the OG. This is good old Thalia at home. And Glowrider, which we see in the full 4 copies here, can be absolutely backbreaking while trying to, you know, work by wastelanding and porting your opponent. So by playing Glowrider instead of Meddling Mage, what we're doing is a couple of things. First of all, we have a pretty pristine mana base, as you see that we have access to, because we're not playing Gemstone Mine and all that silliness. We get to play some brushlands, fetch, basics. We even get to play a couple of cycling lands as well. And of course, the Mox Diamond. This gives us 17 white sources, which is very, very good. And if I count correctly, it's 19 green sources as well. Which, so we have, our mana is going to be very, very good. And not only that, but we also get to play 4 copies of Rishadan Port, 4 copies of Wasteland, and then a singleton copy of Core Haven. This one may be a little bit of copium, but Core Haven is absolutely incredible against Dreadnought. So having a deck that not only has natural good game against Dreadnought between Swords to Plowshares and Glowrider, but also being able to get Core Haven with Wayfarer seems pretty strong. Same thing is true for the Terror Mirror. When we are able to effectively blank opposing Terrors, it can be quite strong. Let me tell you that much. We also get to play the full 4 copies of Treetop Village, which is another card that the banned deck does not get to play. So yeah, this seems also pretty strong. Very, very clean mana, no Gemstone Mines, a bunch of utility lands that we can go fetch with Weather Wayfarer, Sylvan Library in 4 copies, some naturalizes, and then wrapping everything up, we have some copies of Armageddon at the very top end and Cataclysm. Here I'm going with Cataclysm, the single copy of Cataclysm, almost exclusively because of the existence of goblins. To be honest with you, this should probably be Armageddon number 3. So I just want to put that on the table. This is just me respecting the deck, and maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just play 3 Armageddons and maybe leave the Cataclysms to the sideboard. And then I think about this deck is that, yes, it can actually support Cataclysm pretty well. I was thinking about adding some extra utility lands as well, stuff like Mishra's Factory, but we could only play like 1 or 2 at most, so I think I'd rather just have access to the cycling lands instead. Especially since Terror is not going to grow as much in this deck because we don't have access to Oath, obviously. In the sideboard, we have, of course, the classic ones, but we get to double down. So the idea was that against combo, where we have 3 copies of Sphere of Resistance post board and 4 copies of Glowrider. So we're missing out on Meddling Mage, but we are kind of making up this way. And this is what the green-red deck does with the Sphere of Resistance, but it has Mishra's Factory. So here, the nice thing about Meddling Mage is that not only does it disrupt, but also beats down. So that's why I really wanted to try out Glowrider. We'll see if this card actually performs as well as I hope it will. But yeah, that's going to be exciting. So yeah, this is going to be a very, very strong game plan that we're trying to assemble against the combo decks of the format. And then we have, of course, you know, your Aura of Silence, Seal of Cleansing, Ray of Revelation. We also have Curse Totems, the 4th copy of Call of the Herd for the matchups where that's necessary, a 2nd Cataclysm for those Goblins and Elves decks and whatnot, and a singleton copy of Enlightened Tutor so we can go find our Tormod's Crypt, Suran Orbs, Resurrection Furnace, and even Sphere, actually. Stuff like that. So this is going to be the deck that we're going to be playing in this Magic Online Society League. If you are interested in hearing more about this, you can of course join the channel and you can subscribe and, you know, all of that good stuff. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you for round number 1. Round number 1 against the one and only Fair Magic. His hand seems reasonable. Can go turn 1 Heath, turn 2 potentially Library. We're guess definitely Library. That's fun. So I guess we can play Glowrider now. Yeah, let's do that. We're going to pitch the Trevas Ruins, and let's go get a green source, and let's play Glowrider. So now if he plays a non-basic, I get to Wasteland him plus Resolve Sylvan Library. That's also pretty nice. So I guess I'm casting that one instead. Trying to put as much pressure as I can, and then we can disrupt. Yeah, that's a Wasteland target right there. So now we can Wasteland here, float some mana, that's fine. Switch stages. And now we're going to be able to double port Impulse. I guess I'd rather just drop a library here, since there's nothing that I'm scared of for 3 mana. So I'm going to drop a library, get this going, and then I can start porting next turn. Disenchant Library. It's totally fine. Here's more damage, and flashback Call of the Herd. Good luck. So now he cannot plow the Glowrider, and I can just double port the white sources. So yeah, that was good showing for this boy. Good showing for the Glowrider right there. Woof! That was really hot. Okay, definitely want Call of the Herd. Ray of Revelation is interesting. Sphere of Resistance also interesting. We just cut the source to Plowshares. And I guess I bring in some spheres. I think I'd rather have Seal of Cleansing instead of Ray of Revelation. The question is whether I want another sphere. I'm gonna be on the draw, so I think I'd rather have Seal of Cleansing instead. Arguably Aura of Silence is interesting as well. This looks pretty good though. Could cut a Mox Diamond. Nah, I'm gonna be on the draw. I think I want the 4 Mox Diamond. On the play we can cut some number of them. This is an interesting hand. I think I'll keep it. So we need to find a green source, but we get to cycle, which sets up my Terravor. I also have Wasteland, which is pretty nice. So now we get to cycle, find the Mox Diamond. That's very nice. So play Mox, see if he counters. He can annul here. Yep. On the plus side, we do get to Wasteland. Another Coastal Tower. Green source means I use this turn to resolve Library. Annul number 2. Okay. Next turn we get to Wasteland plus Wasteland here. Obviously go after the blue-white source. Just lets it go. Library number 2. Probably Mana Leak here, which would be fine. We still have the last library. Also, this Terra Boy is 5/5 already, which is not half bad. Never mind. Gonna start eating my lands. Library number 1,000,000. Does this one stick? Yay. Don't have the disenchant. Come on. Don't have it. That's okay. Terrabor's still pretty decently sized. I mean, this is kind of a weird game where we're just like jamming every turn. just play and jam. Yeah, here's this guy. And I'm leading on the Call of the Herd so that my Glowrider doesn't actually stop my own card. So now if my opponent cracks the Furnace, which they didn't, it's interesting. Yeah, now they do crack it. But that taps them from a mana, which is interesting. Swing for 3. 2 cards left in hand. And now we're gonna see if they have the Factor Fiction. If they don't have Factor Fiction here, yeah, that's a pretty big game for me. So now my opponent can untap and Wrath, which is a little bit annoying, but not the end of the world. I think we do this here, and we swing with the Elephant and the Treetop Village. Can cycle Decree, gonna block Treetop and Pump. So they didn't Wrath last turn, which was a pretty good turn to Wrath. So I think I'm gonna play this Wayfarer into a potential Wrath of God. He would have needed to just top decked it. He also could have Impulse last turn and didn't, which makes me think it's not super likely he has it. It's kind of a big game. Let's send the Elephant token. That just resolved. Gonna Wayfarer. Do we just get Windswept Heath here? Could get Treetop Village. We're just gonna get Heath and just grow this Terravor. My opponent clearly does not have the Wrath. These cards don't do anything. So I'm just gonna split Decree versus everything else. Like, I don't need to play any more spells. Yeah, it just takes the decree. Place a land. Terravor just a casual 10/10. So let's serve there. There's a decree. Makes 3 dudes. It's gonna have to do some chomp blocking. And now we're gonna get Treetop Village, and even if he untaps some Wraths, we have Treetop, so we don't care. So this is looking pretty good. There's the Treetop, play the Treetop. Do I want to play another Glowrider? That means he has to Wrath, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana, only leaves a white source. He does not have Source to Plowshares, so he cannot draw both the Wrath and the Source to Plowshares, but this is already preventing cantrip into Wrath, so I don't need to overextend into the Wrath of God, which is the only way that I lose here, so... And there you go. Wow, a really good showing for Glowrider, let me tell you that much. See you next round. Round number 2. This hand is a little bit awkward, has no place until turn 3. I think I'm gonna mulligan this, like the double Terror is also kind of awkward. This, though, is pretty sexy. So let's keep this bottom Cataclysm. And what we can do here, I think it's likely, I'm playing against Macha, and I think it's pretty likely that she's playing Mono Blue Dreadnought. So I'm going to go with the not-so draw of turn 1, Weather Wayfarer, go. So I think, let's see if she counters this. That's a no. Then we get to play this and not play any lands. If she has foil, she has to foil this. Portent, yeah, okay. So now we get to activate Wayfarer, and we get to play a fetch land. So what that does is it allows me to effectively put an activation of Wayfarer in the bank. So even if she chooses not to play a land next turn, we still get 1 more activation from the Wayfarer because I can fetch, hold priority, and then go from there. So I'm hitting my land drop, but I'm not hitting my land drop at the same time. And we still have Core Haven here, which is pretty sick. So activate Wayfarer. So here, I could just play out the brush land and cycle. I think that sounds good to me. Again, so my idea is to continue developing my mana and continue doing stuff while still punishing her for not doing anything. And then whenever we are done taking advantage of this Wayfarer, then we can go ahead and drop this Core Haven. But the Dreadnought deck is pretty good at, you know, like between Gush and like all of that stuff, they're pretty good at kind of, you know, like what we see here. So now they're not playing a land, opt. Yeah, still not playing a land, but we are going to get an activation, which is very nice. Port is cool. Port is pretty nice. Okay, so now we're going to fetch, hold priority, activate Wayfarer. This now allows me to, we can get another port, we can get Secluded Step. Oh, we can just get Treva's Runes. Now this is gonna go find a green source. I can drop a Glowrider or a Terravor. Actually, I think Glowrider is more valuable, so I'm going to just play Terravor here as a way to bait out the potential daze. She may not even daze this, honestly. Yep, there we go. So the nice thing about this is that we can just sit behind this Core Haven for quite a little bit. Now she can Gush. So this is what I was saying. So now we're probably not going to be activating this Wayfarer anymore. There's the Dreadnought. So now we're going to play the Core Haven. This Terrageddon is effectively a dead draw. Is it better to just play Glowrider here, actually? It may be better. Yeah, I think it's actually better. So let's just go ahead and play Glowrider. So that next turn I can just go... She has to foil this. But next turn I can go Port you plus Core Haven. And if this doesn't get countered, then we should be Gucci. Okay, cool. So we're gonna take a hit from 12. It's totally fine. And then next turn we're gonna start tapping on upkeep. We may be dead here though. Stifle would be kind of a beating. Wasteland doesn't do anything. So we're gonna port the island. So she can just go land plus Stifle. And I would lose to that. But there's nothing I can do about that. So she can't attack. She knows the discard. It's definitely another one. It's definitely another one. So I can swing for 8 this coming turn. Certainly not enough. Clean that step. So many wastelands. Don't have enough power on this Terravor, unfortunately. So we just have to hope that this works. Gonna port again and hope that there isn't any shenanigans. So the bad part is that we cannot really attack. Like next turn, she can just block the Terravor. What happens if I Geddon? 5 mana to Geddon. Yeah, so she correctly doesn't attack. Do we have like a 13/13 Terravor if my countings are correct? I think we may. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 8 plus 3 is 11. Actually don't have enough. So here what we can do, we can play another Glowrider. Play another Wasteland. So casting a Glowrider is effectively the same as porting. The only problem with casting the Glowrider is that if I am actually allowing her... Oh, but she can't foil. She can't foil because she doesn't have an island. So I think it's correct for me to just play this out. If she had an island plus Stifle, she would have already attacked. Oh, I tapped wrong. No, that's fine. I need to hold the Core Haven. Never mind. Oh, this is fine. Okay, she's packing in. She can't both Gush and foil in that situation, right? So Cataclysm Soulful, Armageddon Soulful. Good. glad you came to my TED Talk. Yes, more sphere effects. Thank you very much. Seal of Cleansing seems good. Aura of Silence seems good. This guy, pretty decent as well. We're gonna have to think about the fact that my opponent has potential of Brain Freeze, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. Let's cut some libraries, maybe a Call of the Herd. I don't think I want Enlightened Tutor. I don't think the game's gonna go long enough for Enlightened Tutor to matter. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go with this. Damn, Glowrider's doing some work. Just out here, just riding that glow, you know? Interesting hand. So this hand kind of scoops to a turn 2 Dreadnought. I guess we have Core Haven though. Maybe this is just fine. She moves to 6, which is pretty scary. Would be nice to draw like a Swords to Plowshares or something like that. I'm gonna play this to represent that we have something. Alright, cool. No Dreadnought's good. Not bad. Not a bad draw. So let's play Mox Diamond here. And I think I'm pitching the Windswept Heath. Play a land, and I really don't want to drop this library. No, I think it's fine. So let's play the library. She can counter it. She's very likely going to. But then that clears the way for the Aura of Silence. Oh, that resolved. Okay, I'm into that. We also have the Windswept Heath to shuffle. There's a Dreadnought. And there's the Charm. So we'll love to find some number of Swords to Plowshares and whatnot. These don't do anything. But let's keep the port. Gonna play this. Shuffle. Find another white source. Play Aura. This can only get got by a null realistically here, because if she foils, then that's great for me. The question now is whether do I Aura on upkeep? I think I do. So what this does is it opens it up for Stifle, but I think I'm kind of screwed if she has Stifle anyway. Okay, so that resolved. So now we're just cooking. Have a lot of time. We have an active library. We drew a Call of the Herd, which is not bad at all. That's very nice. So we're actually gonna pay some life here. Play this guy. That eats the counterspell. Okay, since that ate the counterspell, now we can play the Call of the Herd. And now we have a clock. I was not going to play a land if this resolved, but since it got countered, we're free to start porting. Not that it's going to matter that much, I don't think. It's another library. Doesn't really do anything, so let's just get our shuffle on. Let's get the last fetchable from the deck. We're going to swing for 3. Flashback call. Hardcast foil. That makes sense. You gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Not the most relevant Rishadan porting that's ever been seen, but still doing some stuff. Brushland's not great, but library's cooking over here. Ooh, baby. Trying to be really careful not to... That resolved, that's a really big game. So now this port is actually doing some pretty serious work. Let's play out the Core Haven. And now we're looking very good. But I'm being pretty careful not to go below 12 life, because this gives me leeway to actually take one hit from the Dreadnought. So I think it's kind of important to stay above 12. Hey, look at that. That's a clock. Not the biggest clock I've ever seen, but I mean, we already have a clock in play though. So even if this doesn't resolve, like, it's not really that big of a deal. It did, so that's cool. Gonna keep on porting. Keep porting. Come on. Okay, 3 mana impulse, the classic. And there you go. Obviously, game 1 we kept a hand that was insane because I knew what Maha was playing. To be fair, she also knew what I was playing, so it evens out. But still, I think this boy has been doing work. I'm happy. Round number 3, we got the Dream. Turn 1 Glowrider. Hell yeah. This hand seems a little bit too lackluster. This seems dramatically superior. So let's keep this. We got turn 1 library. What do we want to do with it though? I think I bottom the Cataclysm here. And we're definitely going turn 1 library. The question is what I'm pitching to the Mox Diamond. Put him most to 5. I think I'm gonna pitch the Windswept Heath. There's an argument for pitching the Treetop Village because the Heath actually has a lot of value alongside library. Quirion Ranger. That one's gonna die. Put the library back on top. Definitely paying for this. Swords to Plowshares. Get rid of that. Play out the Treetop. Send the turn back. Gonna try and play the control game here. Llanowar Elves. That's something. Alright, these are cards. Glowrider actually not very good here. So I'm going to put this on top, and I'm going to plow this and just decline to play a land. The idea is if my opponent does happen to play a land, then we can use Wayfarer to shuffle. It's not bad. Gonna put both of these on top, play Wayfarer, and say go. Opponent need 5 Finhornels, there we go. So now we're gonna get to shuffle on upkeep, because we know we have 2 bad cards on top of our deck. And then we get to Wasteland the Cradle. Shuffle to go get Treva's Ruins, Rishadan Port. All of these are pretty reasonable things to go get. I think I'm gonna get Windswept Heath, because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to use Wayfarer again. And having access to a shuffle is kind of nice. So let's put these back on top. And here we're obviously gonna Wasteland. Send the turn back. Very sad that I bought on the Cataclysm. Cataclysm would be pretty amazing here. Misstep by my opponent there. They should have bounced the Acolyte last turn. So a little bit of a misstep, but I don't think it's gonna matter that much. I think they're still pretty firmly ahead. Sure, let's put all of these on top. Play this, shuffle. Gonna get a white source, and we're going to cycle now. Pass the turn. We're not looking in great shape, honestly, even considering my opponent mulled to 5, but we simply drew too many blanks. They bounce, they untap, they draw another card. Kind of going off here. We could potentially draw Cataclysm. That'd be pretty nice. I wonder if my opponent's gonna upkeep, blow out the library. Looks like they aren't. That one's not bad. We put that on top. And put the Naturalize on top, I guess. I guess I want to draw the Naturalize. No, let's just put it on top. Now we get to play Treva's Ruins and Cataclysm. It's not even that good, honestly. My opponent can just hold on. They can bounce the Multanis, or they can save the Priest here. They get to save 1 creature, still have 3 cards in hand, only sacrifice a single land. They also get to use, to flip this Morph, assuming this is, what's his name? The Nantuko Vigilante. It could be the other guy, like the Morph Pump guy. They decide to save the 1/1. Interesting. I'm gonna keep... I think I want to keep the Treetop Village. They should just keep the Priest. Yeah, so I guess it was the Tribal Force Mage. That's why they didn't do anything. There's no way my opponent's attacking, so I'm gonna get in there for 1. My opponent should be able to rebuild rather quickly. That's Acolyte number 3. Missed the land drop. These are interesting pickups. I think I'll top the Treetop Village and pay for the other ones. And I think I'm attacking. I don't think I attack with the Wayfarer, but I'm interested in attacking with the Treetop. Like, I need to end this game. Seems like opponent's gonna be paying for upkeep, which is fine. I can just trade. But there's no reason to, you know, play a port and attempt to port there, because my opponent can just use that mana to pay for upkeep. Queen Rangers, very strong. Yeah, we're kind of in a lot of trouble here. I imagine there goes the library. Yeah, super happy to take this trade. Now my opponent, if my opponent top decks a Wirewood Symbiote, it's not even that good a draw. So let's play another Treetop and pass the turn. We can use Treetop to trade with Vigilante, which we may need to do. Still unclear. That's a lot of mana. Interesting attack. Okay, we're going to attempt to trade here. My opponent can do the untap trick here in order to kill the Treetop, but that means they don't have any more mana to do this. We are taking... we're at 9, so we die anyway, never mind. This doesn't work. They actually allow us to trade. Interesting. It makes sense, they're protecting the Masticore, which is the more relevant thing here, but now we get a nice little trade. We definitely have to Wasteland. We can use Naturalize to tap the Masticore. It's not the best spot. Guess I do have enough lands to threaten the block. Pay Masticore upkeep. They get Anger. Okay, good to know about that. So my opponent's playing Wasteland and Anger. That seems pretty sketchy. But if they can somehow make the mana work, more power to them. Just serve with Masticore. No blocks, and I guess I'm gonna have to Naturalize here. Opponent can, of course, regenerate. So this is far from a good play, but it's a necessary play. Glowrider, perfect. Yeah, one's not great. Play another Treetop. Send the turn back. We get a replay from the previous turn. We have to find Source to Plowshares number 3, which is not a great spot to be in, honestly. Blowing up the Vigilante was kind of a big deal. So now we're going to attempt to block, I guess. We have to. because otherwise my opponent is they're just gonna be able to lethal me next turn. Yikes. They can kill both of these creatures for free, so yeah, I'm just gonna pack it pretty rough there. Okay, against Elves, Curse Totem, yes. Glowriders, no. Sphere of Resistance, yes. Phyrexian Furnace, yes. Enlightened Tutor, yes. Do I want Seal of Cleansing / Ray of Revelation? Oh, I definitely want Cataclysm. Probably don't want Armageddon. And I guess cut the Wayfarers. Bring in another Call of the Herd. And I guess Seal of Cleansing? I guess we're going with that. It's not great, but when I built this deck, I kind of envisioned this was going to be the case. I also entertained the possibility of building a Naya version with splashing for a Pyroclasm. And if that's the case, then we can probably not just forego playing Cataclysm, which is an interesting thought. Does this can't do anything? I guess it kind of does. So what this does is we can go turn 1 basic planes, turn 2 and plow whatever they play on turn 1, and then turn 2 port their thing, which is nice. So we'll see what happens here. Oh, we drew both basic forests, which is kind of awkward. This has survival covered, which is nice. Just pass the turn. It's a nice pickup. That's a pretty nice pickup, not gonna lie. Treetop Village, pass the turn. Interesting. Go after the treetop. Okay. I don't understand the wastelands in Elves. Somebody will have to explain that to me. Well, my opponent's been hitting some land drops now, and they all happen to be basics. It would have been great to find if they found the critical so I can wasteland it, but they have just been hitting a bunch of basic lands instead, which is kind of awkward. Only a single white source. Yikes. So I guess I spend this turn to play out the Seal of Cleansing. Like, it's not like I'm denying any mana to my opponent. They can already cast any card. So what I'm doing here is I'm potentially setting up an answer to a survival. There it is. Play a white source. And I guess that I'm doing this now. This gives my opponent only a single Quirion Ranger, a single survival activation. Untap, tap your dude. It's kind of awkward that this is not even a great Cataclysm. This is just a necessary Cataclysm. Second survival is honestly quite brutal. That's the last fetchable. It's not looking great. It's a Treetop Village. I'm honestly not sure how I get out of this. I guess I could find Curse Totem, but then my opponent can just use survival to tutor for something, so Curse Totem doesn't even do it. Second survival is pretty backbreaking. Now they do squee things. Furnace could stop the squee engine. They play out the priest. Untap. That's a Terror Boy. Okay. Okay, we have a game plan now. So now we have a 6/6 Terror Boy. Okay, never mind. Game plan found. So now they get a mountain. They can do squee things. They get anger. Makes sense. I don't think they have enough to deal with this Terror though. We're not gonna be able to plow through in a single attack. So that part is awkward, but we Cataclysm, leave the basic forest, play Treetop Village. Maybe we can mount to something here. Oh yeah, especially if they go the Range Hermit. Yeah, this is kind of best case scenario. I thought that we're gonna go do some Werewolf Symbiote shenanigans, but this feels like much better for me. I guess they're just trying to play defensively. Go down to 8, untap. If my opponent has Cradle, it doesn't matter, so we're going to hold on to the green source. So now they're gonna leave probably... Oh, they get Color of the Claw. They don't have enough mana for Color of the Claw. They're 1 mana short. Sphere of Resistance doing some good honest work. Good old Sphere. Good old Sphere. Now we crack in for 12. And with the Sphere in play, my opponent's gonna be pretty limited on mana. Any untapped land gets us that much closer to attacking with Treetop. Alright, got there. Woof! Good old Terravor. That was a crazy top deck. If I hadn't top decked that Terravor, I would have not been able to win. Okay, now we are on the draw. I think I want Ray of Revelation over Seal of Cleansing. Tormod's Crypt is kind of interesting, but I don't think it's interesting enough. Maybe it is. What's the value of replacement? What am I cutting for it? Yeah, I don't think I want to cut any of these cards for Tormod's Crypt. I feel like all these other cards are going to be better. Maybe Call of the Herd number 4. That's the only maybe. All the other cards I'd much rather have them. Ooh, this is nice. This is a fine hand. This is a fine hand. We may actually be able to get there. That's pretty nice. So definitely going to do this. I don't want my opponent to get out of hand here. They play second, Llanowar Elf. They do not miss a land drop. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Wow, that's an incredibly strange top deck. So they effectively do the same thing. It's just a matter of one of them actually allows me to... No, I think that it's better for me to do Curse Totem. This means that the Naturalize is going to go at the Curse Totem, which is much worse for me, but this allows me to go next turn Sphere of Resistance with while playing Treetop Village. So it actually works better within the curve. So there's a Priest, seems fine to me. Do we actually just Call of the Herd? Yeah, I think I actually Call of the Herd. This stops their clock. Okay, this is now great. So now I just get to Cataclysm, destroying 2 lands and 2 creatures. Yeah, this seems great for me. And I'm gonna play out the Core Haven because I think both of these lands are more valuable. So Cataclysm here. We're gonna hold on to Brushland, Elephant, and the Curse Totem. My opponent's gonna keep probably a land and the Priest. And now next turn we're gonna be able to play the Sphere, and we can go from there. Point it down to 2 cards. They need to have exactly land plus Naturalize. We're pretty comfortably winning the race. Get in there, little elephant. Opponent missed the land drop. We get to drop a Sphere and send it again. This draw kind of lined up in the best possible way. All right, Naturalize the Curse Totem. That's very annoying. Very important to Wasteland right there. And now my opponent's mana is going to be unlocked. For the most part, that is. We really want to dodge Quirion Ranger. Where would Symbiote? Yeah, this one's actually less annoying than the other one. So play out Treetop Village, swing again. Yeah, definitely happy that they had Symbiote and not Quirion Ranger. Quirion Ranger would have actually allowed my opponent to explode on mana, while Symbiote can untap Priest, but in order to do that, they have to bounce the Llanowar Elf. What this does, however, is give my opponent just infinite blockers. I guess not really. Oh, come on. Another Cradle. Yeah, it's gonna be rough. That's the last card in hand, however. It's a survival. Yikes. Alright. Really? I don't think you want to attack. You want to leave one? Yeah, you want to leave one of these back to block. They probably should have left this guy back to block. So swing for 3. Unfortunately, I think I need to... The fact that they drew a second Cradle is just so brutal. And now all of a sudden, because their last card was survival, all of a sudden now it's so much better for them that they had Symbiote instead of the other one. That's devastating, honestly. I think I just need to play out a land and I just have to port the Cradle. So they get to now do some activations here and get Squee. Yeah, this is brutal. That's not so good for them. Man, we were so close to winning this. We were so close to winning this. And then my opponent's draw was absolutely perfect towards the end. It was that Cradle. Without the Cradle or without the survival, I feel like we get there. Also, that was a little bit misstep on my opponent. They should have gotten a Quirion Ranger there. That was a pretty big misstep. If they don't find a land, now that Montaña Acolyte, once again, Fear of Resistance doing work, just messing up my opponent's math. Because now I get to attack with Treetop Village, so I'm forcing my opponent to bounce the Priest. That's a nice draw. Can't really use it yet, because I need to spend this turn forcing the block. So they can block, float a mana, and bounce the Priest. Pitch Squee, probably get Anger here. And now pitch Anger and go get the Quirion Ranger. But this is still an attack for 3. And now once again we get to tap the Cradle. We may be able to steal this one on the back of Sphere of Resistance. That was a key misstep there. Like if my opponent had been able to play out the other thing, they had been able to get the Quirion Ranger and they played out, that would have allowed them to bounce a land and tap the Priest and then continue to go off. So that was like a pretty key misstep. I feel like if they make that play differently, they kind of explode from there. But this Sphere did an insane amount of work. I can't believe we got there. I definitely thought that we were not going to. But I still think that it was an interesting matchup. But wow, got there. Super close. That was kind of awesome. Shout out to Cataclysm. Shout out to being able to cast Cataclysm. See you for the next round. Round number 4. This is an interesting hand. I think I'm going to keep it, but this could definitely backfire. The fact that my only white source is also either a white source or a green source is kind of a big deal here. I'm still going to play this Heath on turn 1, but even if my opponent plays something that I really want to source to Plowshares, I may delay that decision. Opponent moves to 6. Okay, that's something that I have to 100% source to Plowshares, so we're not going to have time to... I mean, we can just draw a green source here. Hey, just like we drew it up. So this is probably going to be a pseudo mirror. I assume that we are a little bit disadvantaged here. The reason being because my opponent probably does not have a Glowrider, which seems pretty bad in the mirror. So Cool. So we have this going on. I think we just pay for both of these. And I guess that I'll just develop my mana here and put a Call of the Herd in play. If my opponent wants to plow this, I'm totally okay with that. No naturalize is a huge deal. Now we have an active library. Ha! That's an interesting pickup there. We can just get in here. I think that's what we do. It's my 3 lands against my opponent's 3 lands, but I'm gonna have a Source to Plowshares and a Wayfarer. What do I want to save? I think I want to save the Brush land. Actually, I want to save the Source to Plowshares. The plains, so we have Source to Plowshares. And now obviously we don't attack. So if my opponent wants to offer the trade, we can take it. They can also plow. This Glowrider's not looking super hot, but that's okay. I think I'd rather have the green source than the alternative. So here's Wayfarer, so now my opponent's gonna be hard pressed to do anything. If they play a land, then we can activate Wayfarer on upkeep, which is very nice, and they do. So I imagine this is gonna name Source of Plowshares. That makes a lot of sense. So let's activate here. We could Wasteland, but I really want to spend this turn playing out a Treetop Village. Also, I really want to drop a Terrabor. So I think I'm just gonna get a Treva's Ruin so that I can have an untapped green source. Say yes to that, put that on top, put that on top, play out Treetop Village past the turn. We're gonna take a hit down to 3, and then next turn we're gonna play Terrabor. Another Meddling Mage naming Terrabor would be a really big deal here though. My opponent has their own library now. Oh, Wasteland is huge. Wow, Wasteland's huge there. This is very interesting. So I guess we're going to put both of these up, and we're gonna do the same thing, I guess. So play Wayfarer, and now we get to, I guess, find Core Haven and play out Treetop Village. By getting Core Haven there, we get the option. We really want to dodge a Port or another Wasteland. But if my opponent doesn't find Port or Wasteland, then we're gonna be in good shape. Man, that Meddling Mage got me really good. Down to 1. Oof, Mox is devastating. Oh, is this gonna be a Geddon? This is a Geddon. Brutal. Okay, so if we find the wrong Geddon, maybe we can win. If we find our own Mox, sorry. No Mox, unfortunately. Wow. How the turntables, I guess. Finding that Mox was huge. So we're gonna chomp with this Wayfarer. I mean, honestly, like, the big winner here is Meddling Mage, right? Like, Meddling Mage blocking this Source to Plowshare is insane. Oh no, my opponent paid life again. That's really bad news for me. Chomp. Can we find the Mox? Oh, never mind. Mox doesn't do anything. Second Source to Plowshares. Wow. Alright. That game was turned around. That was very interesting. So we definitely want these. Want Furnace. I don't think I want Glowrider. Man, that Armageddon was brutal. And I guess another Call of the Herd. See, I'm actually gonna cut Seal for Aura of Silence. Yeah, let's go with this. I think I like this setup. But yeah, having Meddling Mage instead of Glowrider was kind of a pretty big deal. Funnily enough, I was never able to cast a 3-drop there. So maybe it was not right to get on there. I think it was. I was ahead, I had a library going, my opponent didn't. That Meddling Mage off the top was kind of a really big deal. Game number 2. Yeah, this looks pretty good. I do like having access to library, do like having access to Rare of Revelation, and obviously Wayfarer is a banger. Once again, opponent on a mull to 6. Turn 1 Wayfarer. Ugh, turn 1 Mox is brutal. Safekeeper. Do we just trade? I think we just trade, because I drew another one. They don't take it. Okay, second Wayfarer, pass the turn. I don't think I plow this right here. This does limit my opponent's development. If they play a second land, that's going to allow me to activate Wayfarer. They do nothing, which makes a lot of sense. Send with both. This is so awkward, but I think I have to hope that this library does something. I'm super far behind. Safekeeper doing insane work here. So now they get to Mox. You activate their own Wayfarer. But without having my own Mox, it's really challenging to get ahead of this. They got Wasteland. Interesting. Don't have Naturalize, please. So we just pass the turn. I don't think there's much we can do here. I don't think I can afford to play out this Treetop Village. And I'm never going to be able to activate this Wayfarer. So I'd rather just make it so my opponent cannot really activate either. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a pretty big problem. Untap, send the turn again. Not much to do. I've always been skeptical of the one-off Safekeeper that these lists play, but right now it's kind of an incredible showing by the card. So my opponent doesn't really need to do anything anymore. Another Wayfarer, yikes. Maybe if the library had survived, I could have a shot. If I can find my own Naturalize to blow up my opponent's Mox. So they tap my land. Yeah, I can't even Wasteland. Yeah, I think I'm just locked. I'm trying to think. The problem is I cannot really develop because I know my opponent has a Wasteland in hand. So I don't really know what I'm trying to draw. Like, I can't set up this Cataclysm, which would be a way to get out of this. I just really need a Mox, but I cannot allow my opponent to just start activating Wayfarers willy-nilly. In fact, they could probably just start doing it for value. Now that I don't have Source to Plowshares mana up, what they can do is they can sack the basic forest, activate Wayfarer to go get the, like a lair land, and then bounce the port so they get 2 activations with Wayfarer. That way they get to protect their dudes. They also get to kill me quicker. There's a land, so this probably means my opponent's gonna Geddon. So they're buffing Terrabor, and they activate Wayfarer. They go get Treetop Village, swing for 5. Can I draw a Mox? Yeah, at this point I am just dead, so I'll just back it in. Wow, very interesting matchup. Mox seems like a way to turn this matchup around. Like, the fact that my opponent had Wayfarer superiority and they actually were able to protect their Wayfarer was kind of a huge deal. This is kind of like a nice little wombo combo. And the fact that, once again, you know, I was considering, as I talked about earlier, a red splash for Pyroclasm. Had I had access to something like that, this game would be a little bit closer. But as is, I don't think it was. Very, very cool and very, very well played by McLean. He never, ever let himself be vulnerable, nor never allowed me to activate Wayfarer. So, really well played. See you next round. Playing against the legend himself, Poolmaster. This hand seems reasonable. I do like that we have some disruptive stuff going on. Pablo has been playing Replenish a lot. I think this hand sounds reasonable against Replenish. Looks like he's on red. Interesting. Okay, we do get to play a Call of the Herd. And having Geddon seems reasonable against the red deck. So that happens. Oh, black. Ravenous Rats. I'm just gonna pitch this Naturalize here. That's very interesting. So we're playing against some form of like Machinehead. I think I want to mess with his black mana because of Cabal Therapy. Take 2. Cabal Therapy. So they're gonna get something. They name Call of the Herd. What a champion. What a champion. Man, what a good line. Just lets me have it, huh? So this is gonna force the issue. Play this. We're going to flashback call. So now this is gonna force the issue. My opponent's gonna have to flashback therapy, naming Terravor or Armageddon, depending on what they're more dead to. Bolt the elephant. Flashback. They kind of have to take Armageddon here. The Terravor, interesting. So I guess they're just sandbagging lands now. Glowrider, not looking great. Arena. Oh, Spectre. Well, here's this. Play out my land and pass the turn. So now we're just gonna have to raise this Hypnotic Spectre. That's a good way to do that. So now we plow the Spectre, and now we just have to draw land Terravor or something. That's a very nice draw. Okay, so my priority right here is to not die, and holding Core Haven. Okay, now I regret that, because now they found the red source, and now the Grimoire can start dealing damage. We can top deck still, though. We can top deck another Call of the Herd, we can top deck a Terravor, Library would also be great. Second Lava Man, that's a good one. Okay, so we kind of have to do that. Have to take a turn off, we're gonna take 2, but I really need to find threat so I can raise back. So this is gonna be 3 points of damage. And they're holding back red mana. Ugh, that sucks. So I think we keep the land, but we cannot raise back, so I guess this just doesn't matter. So this means that we take 2 a turn instead of taking 3 a turn. So I think that's better. They just pass the turn. We untap. Okay, just gonna play Wayfarer. It's not great, but it's what we got. Now they can kill a Wayfarer if they want. Probably gonna go face. We can still draw Terravor, Source to Plowshares. Not that one. Okay, yeah, we still can't attack. So we're just gonna have to chill. So now we're dead to a Lightning Bolt. Well, therapy, probably naming Source to Plowshares. Amulet of Vigor. Alright, I appreciate that. Okay, so he's just trying to put cards into the graveyard. That's a really funny name, though. Another Treetop. Okay. Not much to do, but now they're just gonna do rest and activate again. The Man of Lava. Is this a Suranor matchup? I think it may be. Scrying for 0. Love it. Okay. Give me another Call of the Herd. Give me a Phyrexian Furnace. Don't think we want Curse Totems. We probably want Naturalizes. Glowrider seems not great in this matchup. Cataclysm is interesting. Don't think I want it, but interesting to think about. Suranor, I want at least 1 copy, I think. And I guess I get Enlightened Tutor. And if I get Enlightened Tutor, I might as well get Seal of Cleansing instead of Naturalize. They showed me Scrying. Do I think... Oh, actually, Ray is better. Ray is better against Dystopia. It's just a matter of whether they have factories or not, which I did not see any that game, because Naturalize answers factory. This is cool. So we get to go turn 1 Mox, pitch Wasteland, Mox, pitch Plains, cast Call of the Herd. We have a game plan. The other option was to go... Oh, they have the rest. The other option was to just like let it go and just upkeep and go tutor for what's his name? Library. Top deck Terror is not great there, but it just dies to a bolt. Cabal Therapy just to put it in the graveyard. Gotta do what you gotta do. So there goes that. And an upkeep, I'm gonna tap the black source because my opponent's already gonna be tapping the red source to Lavamancer, kill the Terror. They have to kill it right now. Huh, that's a cool land. So swing for 3. We're just going to continue the onslaught. We're just gonna continue making it awkward for my opponent to do stuff. This is obviously not great trades, right? But allows me to use my mana and it forces my opponent to use their mana as well. Black, black, red, red. Nevdisk? Oh my god. I was not expecting that. The One of Seal? That's not the One of Seal. Oh my god. I was not expecting that one. Okay, sure. We're gonna tap this one, so if my opponent wants to use it for mana, they have to tap the Nevdisk now. Wow, I was not expecting Nevdisk. Imagine if this were the Naturalize that I cut for it. I was expecting Dystopia much more than I was expecting Nevdisk. Okay, we get to play. We get to continue playing. Give me a green source off the top, and we'll be in business. Hypnotic Spectre, Source to Plowshares. Okay, that's not the worst. We are gonna have to plow that thing. Get rid of that. Duress takes the Call of the Herd. Ray of Revelation looking so horrible. Okay, we're in business. We are in business. 4 mana, scrying for 3. Gross. Port your land. Okay, so they do have factories, so yeah, this should not be in my deck, and I should have Naturalizes and Seals and stuff instead. Okay, let's play that one. Got a Curse Scroll activation here. 3 cards in hand. My opponent gets 2 scroll activations. Lightning Bolt. And what did they name? They named Engineered Plague. Okay, so we know that our hand is Bolt, Plague, plus something else. 2 more cards. None of which is a land. Let's see what we got. That's a fetch land. We like fetch lands. I think I can't afford to draw these cards. So let's just fetch, get a green source. And we're just gonna flashback Call of the Herd. My opponent's gonna need to use a removal spell on this. Surprised they're just not playing their cards out. Activate Scroll. They have a Swamp, so they could have played a Swamp and they didn't. So they're playing around Cataclysm. Ah, there's a Dystopia. We did shuffle the top of the deck. It's kind of brutal that we don't get the activation, unfortunately. Just gonna double port. So we know now that they have Plague. Now they have to pay cumulative upkeep. I assume that they won't. And now we port Factory. And then we go to draw step. And we port the bridge. So that leaves my opponent only with a single activation of Curse Scroll. Play Hippie. So I can get an attack for 3. We don't know my opponent's last card because they played out the Swamp. The question is whether we get an attack for 3 or we go Call of the Herd, Flashback plus Wayfarer. I think I want to do that, actually. This puts the most pressure on my opponent. Okay, their last card was a Terminate or something. We're probably dead, if that's the case. Yeah, it was a Terminate. So now they're probably going to play out the Plague. And now we're left in a little bit of a holding pattern where they just get to start activating Curse Scroll. That's a good draw. That's quite the good draw. So now they're going to Shock Face. Last card in hand is a Mountain. That means they're going to be able to double activate Curse Scroll if they want to, but I can force them to do that on their upkeep. These Curse Scrolls are destroying me. It's pretty funny how if this had been a Naturalize, I would have probably won this game very easily. Just blow up the Nevdisk and then just easily win from there. Opponent's last card in hand is another Terminate. That probably locks this game up. I can bring my opponent down to 3, but then I cannot close the deal. And anything that I draw just gets killed. If I top deck Cataclysm... Okay, I think that I have to play this out and I have to top deck exactly Cataclysm. Tap the Factory here. If I top deck Cataclysm, I leave my opponent in a situation where they have to do the thing with the Wretch. So they're still gonna keep the Hypnotic Spectre. So I need to top the Cataclysm into land. My opponent has this covered on multiple axes here, so I'm dead now. I can't raise the Hypnotic Spectre. So the idea there was, I top the Cataclysm, I keep the Treat of Village, I go down to 3, they keep this, and they keep maybe a Factory. That's the best thing they can keep, probably. Then I top deck, then a following turn I top deck Source to Plowshares. I guess I need to keep a white source. So top deck I keep, destroy Swords to Plowshares, and then follow in turn. We go from there. But yeah, as is, man, this Ray of Revelation was absolutely heinous, brutal stuff. Yeah, definitely should have had Naturalize, I guess. But I was not expecting my opponent to have that many artifacts. And again, as I said, they had Factory, which I did not see game 1. It makes sense for them to have Factory though, so it was a matter of like, the Nev disc was the game breaker. That was cool though, great deck by Paul. See you for the last round. Very last round, and this looks pretty fine. Let's keep this. So we're gonna go Mox Diamond, Pitch Brushland, and I'm just going to play this. If they don't have an answer to this Weather Wayfarer, we're going to be in pretty good shape. Llanowar Waste. Definitely Wasteland in this. Cabal Therapy. Blind Therapy. That's cool. The fact that my opponent led with Llanowar Wastes really makes me believe that they don't have another land. Sylvan Library was named. Activate Wayfarer, Wasteland, play it out, blow up land, pass the turn. This also means they don't have Duress, which is nice. Decide to play no lands. I can play that game. Get a basic plains, play Call of the Herd. Pivot! Now we are the aggro deck. Can they just pack it in? Yeah, that makes sense. So we don't know what we're playing against. This could be the Rexur deck, or this could be just natural the rock. I do think I want Call of the Herd regardless, and I want Cataclysm regardless. The question is whether we want Geddon. I think I'm going to err against just regular the rock. So I'm going to cut these, bring these in, bring in Ray of Revelation, and leave it at that. If I were playing against the regular, the other rock deck, I do not want Glowrider. I do want Glowrider against Natural Rock, but I don't want it against Survival Rock. And then the other thing is Curse Totem. I definitely want Curse Totem against the other deck. I could see Aura of Silence over Naturalize, actually, just to make Pernicious Deed a little bit more expensive. And since I'm thinking about regular the rock, I'm going to cut the Mox Diamonds. But yeah, this is going to change a lot if I am indeed playing against Survival Rock, as opposed to regular rock. This hand seems pretty reasonable again. Double Mox, Basic Forest. Well, we're gonna do this thing again where we play a big dude on turn 1. Keep a green source. This coming turn, I'm actually gonna play Aura of Silence because I want to delay Pernicious Deed as much as possible. Green, green. Okay, so this is actually Survival Rock, which sucks for me. Let's play this out, pass the turn back. But I'm not too scared of Survival, I already have the answer, so Uktabi Orangutan would be pretty bad for me. Oh, Caves of Coilus. There goes the Uktabi. Let's get in there with the guys. Really, they just chomp block. Okay, so let's play this out and pass the turn. Wall of Roots. They didn't miss a land drop. Man, that's a lot of walls. That's really awkward. So I guess I'm gonna blow up the white source. It's also the second black source. And let's plow one of these Wall of Roots. I want to try to pin my opponent on mana. Oh, they found the Windswept Heath. So now they have white mana. Rector. Well, I was not expecting that. Here is a Call of the Herd. I guess that whatever they get, I just aura, so it kind of doesn't matter. So this seems fine. They can get a pattern, I guess. That's a deed. We're gonna blow this up right now. So they can kill the elephant and the Mox Diamond. I guess I shouldn't have flashed back the elephant, but we do get our 6/6 Terra Boy to hang out. Okay, so now we know what we are up against. We're playing against some sort of value survival rock. I definitely want Tormod Script here because Tormod Script actually stops the Academy Rector trigger, which is obviously quite valuable. Baloth. Baloth's got nothing on my boy Terrabor. Swing for 6. And I think we go after the black mana here. I'm more scared of Pernicious Deed than anything else. Would love to draw Wasteland. Deranged Hermit. Oh, okay, so now what? My opponent should have definitely attacked with the Terrabor there. Okay, cool. So that gets rid of the waste. And we can't really attack. Pay for upkeep on the Hermit. Makes a lot of sense. We're in a little bit of a stalemate. Okay, this protects me. Doesn't quite allow me to start attacking just yet, but I am one removal a spell from winning this. I also have the Cataclysms. Opponent sacks Baloth main phase. They're gonna start doing recurring nightmare things. Okay, so they get only a single activation. Oh, they have Birth. Never mind. Can we find an answer? No, we can't. So this is kind of awkward. We have to time walk ourselves here, just so my opponent does not get multiple recurring nightmare activations. Still, we are one Cataclysm away from winning. There's the recurring. My opponent should ditch the Hermit. Oh, actually, they can't really do that comfortably. Yeah, they actually cannot ditch the Hermit, because if they do, then their squirrels become 1/1s. So I can draw a library, so I'm going to hold on to this. Treetop is not fantastic. My opponent's running away with it here. I really need to get a bit lucky. All of these Wall of Blossoms are messing things up for me. This is kind of risky. So now if I find an answer to this recurring nightmare, I'm gonna be in really good shape. So if I swing with Treetop Village, no, I can't really mess around with that. So I have to play out the Weather Wayfarer, and my opponent has 5 lands in play right now. So I have to just chill. If they play out a land, I get 1 Wayfarer activation for free, and then we can potentially go from there. This Bird of Paradise is messing me up pretty badly. Survival. Yeah. Now this is problematic. Second recurrent nightmare. Interesting. Okay, untap. This is not what I need right now. This is super rough right now. So I can't really play out my guys because I can't play out the Call of the Herd because my only out here is the Cataclysm. So I just have to sit awkwardly, and then my opponent finds any creature, then they can go get Bone Shredder, which kills the Terravor, and then everything crumbles. Yeah, so my sideboard is gonna change pretty dramatically if I lose this game. Opponent sucks Baloth, and they get it back. They suck Hermit, and get it back. Now I imagine they're just going to replay Recurring Nightmare and get back the Hermit. Now they can start spitting out squirrels. We don't have that much time anymore. Have a tiny bit of time still, but not that much. My opponent very cautious to not play any more lands than they need. Tight play. Library. I guess that does something. So now we're gonna see how my opponent pays for Hermit. I imagine they don't. Withered Wretch. So now they're gonna be able to have this. They're gonna be able to bring that back and make my Terror Boy small. Ugh, Monk Realist. Ay. So they don't pay. On upkeep, we're going to tap the white source. Monk Realist the library. Alright, one time. Let's get... Oh, interesting. So now Bone Shredder kills the Terravor, and things get very, very awkward. So we have to fetch, hold priority, activate Wayfarer. We're gonna go get the Cycle land. Go to Plains, Cycle, get another one. So if I do find Cataclysm, we are kind of cooking, but I have one more look. Glowrider. Doesn't really do anything, so that sucks. Okay, we're gonna flashback Call of the Herd, and we're going to save Brushland. Again, I'm playing as if I'm going to top deck Cataclysm, which I need to happen in order to win this game. So now we tap the black source again and send it back. Point activate survival, get a Wall of Roots, Wall Therapy. You got it. They name Cataclysm. If I had Cataclysm in hand, that's a wrong thing to name, because if I had Cataclysm in hand, I would have cast it. So they should definitely flash back and get back and take my Wayfarer, because if I do top deck the Cataclysm, then I just Cataclysm, play Wayfarer, and I may actually get back into this game. But my opponent is aware of the Cataclysm, so I'm surprised that they're not setting things up. Oh, that's just lethal. So we put an elephant in front of 2 of these, and we just take 10. I guess we go to 1? I guess I miscounted. Never mind. Okay, so now that we have better understanding of what we're playing against, let's cut these Glowriders. Let's bring these Curse Totems. I want Tormod's Crypt, and I think I want another Naturalize. And we're gonna submit it. I may cut another Mox Diamond, actually, for another Naturalize. Enlightened Tutor could be interesting for Phyrexian Furnace or Tormod's Crypt. Let's actually do that. So let's cut Naturalizes, bring in Seal of Cleansing, and Enlightened Tutor. I hate Enlightened Tutor, but this may be a situation... the situation of a matchup that I care about having access to it. We're on the play. Yeah, let's keep this. Curse Totem, Weather Wayfarer combo deck. But that's okay. We'll figure out. Cabal Therapy. There's no way that they can hit with this therapy. They're supposed to name Sylvan Library. That's the correct thing to name here. That's a nice draw. So there's an attack. And now we port on upkeep. So get in there. And I think I'm going to play out the Wasteland on a second Wayfarer. So now we can Wasteland itself in order to get some Wayfarer activations if my opponent decides to play another land. Looks like they don't. So now we just get to start getting in there to a turn, baby, until my opponent decides to do something about it. And if the land that they happen to draw is a dual land, then that's that much better for us. Okay, this is looking pretty good now. So we still get to play the Windswept Heath because we still get to do some tricks. Continue to port the Black Source. Limit my opponent's mana on that axis. That's an interesting pickup. That's a super interesting pickup. So this turn we get to... I think this is fine. We're just gonna fetch. We get to cast Call of the Herd plus port. That seems good enough to me. Like at this point, I am just on the... My opponent just won't get to cast spells game plan. Like I'm not on the Wayfarer game plan anymore. Go get a white source. It's gonna be Source to Plowshares. That's totally fine. So now they don't have green mana. Keep going after the black mana. Nice pickup. So play this out, pitch, flashback, call. Keep doing the thing. Keep going after the black mana. And it looks like we got there. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you just port them to death. No need to activate Wayfarer. Okay, that was cool. 4-2 final result. That was very, very nice. And there you go. That's it for this league. 4-2 is not a bad record. We did see Glowrider being very good when we played against the Landstill matchup and also against Mono Blue. And then we also saw the Glowrider being pretty bad, like when we got paired against the survival deck or when we got paired against the mirror match, the pseudo mirror match. So I think that there's a lot to like about it, just as well as there's a lot to dislike. I think that the issue with the mana base is very real. Like, I have found myself having trouble with that while playing the banned version. However, I think that it would be very interesting to try to have access to the red splash instead of Glowrider. So what Glowrider does, like what this at least showed me in this testing here, is that it opens up the door for using our splash color as a way to fix the low-white matchups, which are problematic for this strategy. I know, like, I have played the banned version of Terrageddon and I lost to Elves on a mulligan to 4. So that kind of stuff, like the fact that those decks go so wide and we are not really well equipped to deal with that. Cataclysm is basically the only tool that we have access to, and it's not even that good at doing that. And we kind of saw that when we got paired against Elves earlier in this very league. So the fact that those are also matchups where we want to be cutting the Glowrider would be a kind of a very clean swap. We lead Call of the Herd, Terravore, and all of our manlands. We can potentially keep Wayfarer. I mean, Wayfarer sucks against the Elves deck and also against Goblins, where it just trades with a stupid Mock Fanatic. But the fact that we can very cleanly just cut these 8 cards and then bring some number of the red spells would be very interesting. How to make the mana work would be an entirely different story. I think that it's possible to do such a thing where we play some Wooded Foothills and we play a mountain in the sideboard. 2 of them are just free in the Treva's Ruins that we can just swap for the Rift's Grove, which is the Naya version of this. And then, I mean, we may need to go the Gemstone Mine route. Maybe we need to do something else. I don't know, like we can cut the Core Haven for a Rainbow Land. So there's a bunch of things that we can do. It's just a matter of trying to make everything fit, like try to make all the pieces fit. But like, the interesting thing about this is that this is proof of concept that Glowrider actually does some good work against the combo and control matchups, which was definitely the important part that I was missing whenever I tried green-red versions in the past. This is very promising now, and it just, even though I don't think this is the list, I feel like the fact that this list actually worked and it kind of did what we wanted it to do is enough for me to want to explore this a little bit further. And now we can do the splash for red and then have access to Pyroclast and potentially Pyroblast as well. We'll see how we can make that work. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you there for the next video. Take care and long live Premodern. Bye bye.